I've been thinking quite a bit recently about something that many will have heard of, and that is a phrase called cancel culture. It refers to the attempts by some in society to prevent some others from being able to publicly express themselves. It's an attempt to suppress ideas that are considered dangerous, although in many cases it's simply that they're not to the hearer's liking. Examples are abound, albeit there are critics who suggest that cancel culture itself doesn't really exist, and that what we're observing is simply society adapting in a world of social media to defining what is and what is not orthodox. In other words, what it's okay to think and what it's not okay to think. Now, to be frank, I'm not sure I agree with that, but I get the point. There are some concepts that are deemed so radical, considered so dangerous, that rather than being accepted, embraced and added to the smorgasbord of acceptable ideas, they must be suppressed and destroyed. And that's precisely, of course, what the authorities thought some 2,000 years ago, when the pernicious ideas and stories of Christianity started to make their way around the Mediterranean Sea. It didn't take long for the authorities then to seek to cancel Jesus or to no-platform his ideas. Now, as I have never personally heard of anyone being willing to sacrifice themselves for something that they know to be false, I actually take great confidence that the stories of Jesus are true. Or, to put it another way, I believe that the stories people told about Jesus are true precisely because they were willing to die, and often did, in defense of them. Jesus himself knew this would happen. It was inevitable. And Jesus gave a warning to the disciples that their proclaiming what, in their eyes, was the self-evident truth of the world, would result in their being shunned, if not hated, or even executed. You see, the intolerance of man is a repeating theme throughout history. We've always sought to cast out those who we deem diseased, or dirty, or ugly, or scary, or in some other way different to us. Samaritans in Judea, witches in medieval France, Christians in Iraq, Tutsis in Rwanda, homosexuals in Nigeria. Pick your characteristic and someone, somewhere, will cast people out for it. To be frank, we're really not that much better today. Just read the newspapers or watch the news and you will find today's social pariahs being figuratively strung up for the mob, albeit far too often now on Twitter. But there is hope. There's always hope. For as Jesus also said, "You will not go through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes." Now, some have taken this to mean the literal second coming, the end of the world, of Armageddon, but it is possible to see this more figuratively and to see it as meaning that God, through Christ, will always intervene. He'll always intervene before we run out of time, that we will see sense in the end as we grow through our childish, adolescent and sometimes foolish ways. A few years ago, several hundred authors and academics signed an open letter calling for a free exchange of ideas. They were kicking back against the internet bullies who sought to silence ideas and opinions that they disapproved of. They argued, and I think they're right, that the way to defeat bad ideas is by exposure, by discussion, by argument and persuasion, not by trying to silence or wish them away. And the Christian story would, of course, suggest that they're right. Suppression of ideas will not eliminate them, especially if they happen to be true. And so, whilst we will each have our own ideas of faith, of where Christ is working in the world and how God works around us, we can always take some confidence that when we meet people who have opinions we struggle with, where we find things that we struggle to agree, that there is the ability to reconcile, that there is the ability to find common ground through discussion, through sharing Christ's love with one another, and finding the common ground where God is to be found.